Alright, we are on the road this morning. Figured I'd bring you guys along for the ride. Got one delivery in Trenton, and from a repeat customer. Well, kind of. It's a third party, and so I don't know if any of you guys have dealt with these people. They're common waste, and it's kind of weird how they do things. They generate a credit card number every time you do a transaction. So you call the dispatch person calls you, requests a dollar amount. So you fill all the stuff, put the address in, give them $1, and then they have to submit that request to their accounting department to get an approval, and then they approve that to the penny to the for a credit card number, and then they generate a credit card number with CB codes and everything, and email it to you, and then you submit your payment that way. But what's frustrating is when you have a ton or two over, you have to do the whole process over again. Send them the ticket, talk to the person that dispatched, and then they have to send a request to somebody, and then they have to give it back. It's just a long deal. It's kind of crazy. But so I was having trouble with them for it's been 35 days. So they ran 2 dumpsters from me, and the second dumpster had overages, or the first dumpster had overages that they weren't paying for. Well, it was just taking time, the whole process for them to get the stuff approved. And so on the second rental, I added it to it and just gave them the one price for the overages before, and then the other dumpster is going to the same location, and so that got taken care of. But then the last 2 dumpsters on that project, they each of them had a ton over, so it wasn't a terrible amount. So I submitted it like normal, and then let a week go by, and then called them again and texted them, and they said, "Oh, well, send me the invoice." So I get back into iCans, I resend the invoice, and don't hear anything for 3 or 4 days. So I call them again, I get somebody else on the phone, and they said they'd take care of it. I resend the invoice and didn't hear anything for a week. So I call them again, and same thing. Didn't hear anything for 3 or 4 days. Then somebody calls me and said they usually help the person that booked the dumpster, and they said they help them with the overages and stuff at some point. So they said they'd take care of it to resend the invoice. So I sent the invoice again, waited 3 days, told the guys, I said, look, it's getting close to a month. I said, I'm going to have to charge you late fees for this because of the time it's taken to go back and forth with you guys. And he said he understood, he'd get taken care of that day. Didn't hear anything. Called the original person back and talked to them, and they said they'd take care of it. Gave it 1 day, resent the invoice to them. They said they needed it, so I resent the invoice, and then I texted her the next day and said if it doesn't get taken care of today, then I'll have to put some overages, some late fees on for both of the tickets. So she said that's fine, she'd get to it. So Monday, I put the late fees on for the 2 tickets, and then sent her the invoice, re-emailed it. Didn't hear anything back until yesterday, is Wednesday, and they need a dumpster. So somebody I knew called me to book a dumpster, and it's at that same address. So Common Waste called me back, and I'm like, look, I can't rent to you unless you clear your outstanding balance. I told the person all the links I went to try to contact people, and then he said he'd get it taken care of. So that was at 8:30 in the morning. So by 2 o'clock, I haven't heard anything. I haven't got an email with the updated credit card and to run the overages and to book the new dumpster. So I called them back. Didn't answer. So I called them again and then I called them right back at 3, and they answered, and the guy said he hasn't heard anything about an approval. I was like, well, I can't book your dumpster. I can't get it out first thing in the morning if you're not going to pay for it and pay for the overages from the previous 2 rentals, the last 2. So he said he would talk to his boss again and try to get something worked out and get back to me. So he calls me at 4:30 and says he still hasn't heard anything, and asked how late I stay open. And I don't go to bed till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. So I told him it doesn't matter. He can call me or text me whenever, and then I'll submit the order and get him the dumpster in the morning, as long as I can get the payment process rolling. And then his boss called me at 6:30 and apologizes and says that that's not their policy, and they deal with thousands of transactions every week, and they're in Michigan running a third-party dumpster rental company through website. People book through them, and then they call local people. So I don't know how that's. They got to make it profitable, I guess, for themselves, but I don't know how customers would want to pay the higher price unless they just didn't shop around at all. So he asked me if I can take the overages away, and calls me from his cell phone, says if I have any more problems, if they're not on top of payments from here on out, just feel free to give him a call and he'll take care of it. So anyway, then he approved then he sent me the approval of payment finally. So we got the dumpster booked last night. So we're on the way to Trenton to drop this 25-yard dumpster off. And it's kind of weird because they know that they're renting a 25-yard dumpster, but the customer thinks it's a 30-yard. The customer's paying for a 30-yard dumpster with 3 tons included, and mine's a 25-yard dumpster with 2 tons included. So when I got there the first time, a month and a half, 2 months ago, for the first dumpster, the customer asked about it, and it's like, well, this is what I got. I got 25-yard dumpsters, and they come with 2 tons, and he kind of freaked out, and because he said he had paid for 3 tons. I was like, look, whatever contract you had signed with them, with whoever you booked it from, I said that they're going to have to honor that contract. But if they booked it through me, they're going to have to honor mine. So if you're 1 ton over, they'll have to pay me, but you won't get charged because you signed a deal that says you're allotted 3 tons. So anyway, I don't know. They're renting it. Common Waste knows that they're 25-yard dumpsters, but they're renting them as 30s. But it's not on my side of it. And I gave the customer a card, and they called me for the second. I think they used 4 dumpsters that first round, and they called me for that second dumpster. And I told them my price. I told them 25 yards, 2 tons, anything over, gave them the whole spiel. And they said, oh, okay, well, thank you for your time. And I hung up the phone. And then 3 hours later, Common Waste calls me saying they need a dumpster at that same address. So I don't know, maybe, I don't know how they would get a better deal than dealing directly through me. But I guess they think they are. They think they're getting a better deal, so we're still getting paid through Common Waste, and customers still paying them. I don't see how it could be any better price getting it and having to pay a third party, unless they really think that the dumpster with my name and number on it is the dumpster that Common Waste owns and not who they called. I don't make any sense to me, but Common Waste signed my contract for the 25 yard, so that's what we're doing today. Getting close to Christmas. I almost have the air down system video edited. My wife's been sick for a few days, so we've kind of been not putting any priority on editing anything. So I'll probably just get this one out and get things going with that. But I'm supposed to be picking up some medicine for her today. Went to the doctor's yesterday, the day before, and then all day yesterday we were trying to get, but none of the pharmacies had the medicine she needed. So it was come and go. She was not feeling real great, and then she got a little bit better, taking Mucinex, and we didn't stop taking it, and then she started getting worse. So then we went to the doctor, and they said it sounds like she's got some early onset pneumonia in her lungs because of all the rattling and things. So we'll get that. Hopefully that medicine will get that all figured out. I should pick it up. They had to order it. So when I get back into town, I'll run by the pharmacy and grab that. Get that squared away before Christmas. So I guess that's a good thing about getting sick a little early, right after Thanksgiving and before Christmas. Hit that little window to get it all out of your system. I don't think we were as lucky last year. So that's what's going on, but I should be able to get that, hopefully get it by this weekend. But then I have to make some Christmas gifts. So I try to make my own on certain things. I know my nephew wanted some stuff that I couldn't make, but I've got my sister's mother-in-law. We draw names every year for Christmas. That way it's like you can focus on one person instead of trying to get everybody a little something, make it a little less stressful. So I'm gonna make my mother-in-law and my sister's mother-in-law something for Christmas. I bought myself a lathe a couple years ago, and I've put some videos on here about some of the stuff that I've made for Christmas, so I'll get that going, and that'll probably occupy a lot of my time. So I'll try to get that the air down system video edited and out there, and before that, and then I'll try to make some time while I'm doing stuff to film the stuff that I'm making on the lathe and get that out. But that'll be probably after Christmas, because I'll doing some epoxy stuff and then getting it on the lathe, so there's a lot of cure time in between, so I'll probably be cutting it close, getting it done on time for Christmas, but we'll still make it happen. So you guys have a Merry Christmas and be safe. We'll talk to y'all later. Talk to you later. See you later. If y'all have any questions about anything, about stuff that I run or whatever, just drop me a comment. I get a few every now and then, and so I'm not super crazy. I don't have 20 million followers, so I can respond to the few comments that I get. So, feel free to drop me a line and I'll respond back and all that. If you want to see more or less of whatever the process is, and then we'll take care of that. We'll throw the old camera up. But y'all have a Merry Christmas.